your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat. With a name like that, you think they talk more about the bat. Baturdays. Baturdays. In the BatCave.
Heyo, and welcome, Omnicats and Omnikittens, to Baturdays in the BatCave. I'm OmniDog with my co-host, the Minister of Comics. How are you doing, Minister?
I'm doing pretty great, and I'm excited to talk about how the times are changing with our collecting habits tonight. But not before we do some tangents, as always.
Well, tangents are always welcome. We have zero problem with tangents. We love them. And this will give me a chance to give my code for our organic price books. It's in the description with a highlight to take you right to organic price books. With my code, you get $2 off an order and 5% off your order if you ship 3 or more books together with OmniDog. Ship it together, and they're giving me a special code for an upcoming show that I'm hoping to put up Monday. A special organic priced books code for OmniDog. That's right. They don't do that for OmniBuddy. Oh, sorry. Is OmniBuddy in the chat?
Do you know what's even cooler than that, Jess?
What?
Something that we both just got.
Oh, let me go get it.
The Batman of Zornar. Cool
Yeah,
accessories. The bat with the nails in it, as well as a shiv. For those of you who never read Batman R.I.P. by Grant Morrison, this factors into that story heavily. It's an awesome figure.
Right,
I think Jess and I both agree that McFarlane is very, very hit or miss. Either their figures are great or they suck, it seems like. And this is a great one.
this is great.
Love. This is next to my Swamp Thing figure.
Oh, okay. See, I've been talking to Taylor when we got it about where I should display this, because I don't really have any other Silver Age Batman figures, except that I have a whole display it's a big case of Silver Age Batman from San Diego Con 2019 that I got, and it's like got Rainbow Batman and Batman's zebra suit Batman. It's got all these 4 or 5 Batman in it, and but I'm not going to take it out of that really boss set, so I could set it up so he's just standing on top of it.
I'm trying to think of what other figures. I'm looking at what I have. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think that's where I want to put him, and I want to do a little more research into. I mean, I guess I could just display him with a bat, since the bat's what came with it.
That's true. The only missed opportunity with this figure is that it didn't come with a little bat mite.
Right? Yeah, we both agree on that.
That's the one thing I would have really loved.
Yeah. Prisco. You sent me an email, and I'm so sorry it got buried. I will go back later tonight and answer your email. I apologize. I got way behind on my emails. This is just my regular email box, not the OmniDog's Vault email box that I check once a month. So I apologize, Prisco. I'll get back to you. Here's an important name. Now, I don't know that Taylor is a particular Ramones fan, but he could still come up with a name.
I can't think of one Ramones song. I can't think of. I'm sure I've heard many of them, but I just can't think of one on the top of my head that.
Yeah, well, there's Johnny Ramone and Joey Ramone and Marky Ramone and Dee Dee Ramone.
One of them was on Comic Book Men because he makes little robots out of scrap metal or something.
Oh,
he makes little statues or something.
Well, I'm pretty sure the original 4 members are dead now.
Okay.
There's the replacement drummer is still alive. And I think he has a show on Sirius XM, on Sunday nights or something. But the original group has all passed away. But all you have to do is come up with a name with a Y. You could be Taylory Ramon, but that doesn't really flow. What's your middle name?
Samuel.
You could be Sammy Ramon.
There you go.
Sammy Ramon.
Yeah.
I'd probably, except I hate the name Jesse, so I'm not going with Jesse. Nothing against Jesse Saywa, but my name's not Jesse. It's Jess. I've been called Jesse my whole life, and I hate it.
It probably got even worse whenever Full House was on. With Uncle Jesse. I feel like that was a popular name back then.
People, it's really amazing. We've had neighbors.
I think because the E, isn't there an E at the end of your name?
No.
Oh, wait,
it's just JESS.
Okay. Wow, I'm glad I know you so well. I couldn't remember.
And we have neighbors that have known us for over 20 years, and I introduced myself early on. They still call me Jesse, and I'm like, how do I politely tell them that is not my name?
Kate, my wife Kate has to deal with that. People call her Katie all the time, and she hates that.
I know. You should call her that.
Here's how you solve that. Only call people what they introduce themselves as. Don't come up with another version or a spin of their name, unless you're really close and they tell you or something like that. I hate when people like assume they can call you something else other than your real name.
But I think they just don't hear it. I think Jesse's probably a more prevalent name than Jess, so they just automatically in their head transfer it to Jesse. I finally had one of our neighbors is a very skilled craftsman, and he redid our laundry room, and he called me Jesse. And this was last year after he's been on the street 20 years. And I said, dude, you and Steph, your wife, I need to tell you something, and I say it with peace and love, but my name is Jess. And he goes, oh, sorry. And I'm like, it's all right. Just please don't call me Jesse. And anybody that starts calling me Jesse is going to get booted from the chat. So don't start calling me Jesse.
I've been accidentally called Tyler my whole life. I mean, have you ever met a cool Tyler? I don't think so.
I've called you Tyler accidentally.
What a bad name. I'm just joking.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Dee Dee didn't. That's right. Dee. Yeah, that's a good point.
What's your opinion on replacing people in a band once they die or move on? Like, there's like famous examples of bands where like someone moves, like you can think of that with like Van Halen or with Led Zeppelin or different things like that. What's your opinion on that? Do you think once somebody passes on from the original band, it's time to pack it in? Well, depends who they are. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a good question. I think it depends. Led Zeppelin pretty much packed it up when John Bonham died. They performed a couple of times with his son as the drummer, and he's quite a good drummer. Van Halen, well, of course you can't have Van Halen now because Eddie's gone, and he was Van Halen. I think it probably depends on the band.
If the singer dies, I have a hard time imagining why you should stick around, because that's like the major, not trying to say everybody else in the band doesn't matter, but the major like sound of the band is the lead singer, like the thing you really associate the most with it.
I would agree with you on that, except Queen has Adam, what's his name, from American Idol, and apparently he sounds enough like Freddie Mercury that they tour with him as their lead singer. But is it really Queen without Freddie Mercury?
That's hard. I don't think so.
Yeah, and then
he kind of was Queen, really.
Yeah, and then along with Brian May, and then Journey lost Steve Perry, who went off to his own career, and then they've got that famous Filipino singer that they pulled off the streets that sounded so much like Steve Perry. They're using him now all the time.
You wonder how many rock stars or famous musicians have died in plane crashes? Like a ton.
Yeah.
Like John Denver. Who is
Buddy Holly, and you go back to before my time, Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper, and
who sang
Bamba guy?
Jim Croce. He died.
Jim Croce, yeah. Good call.
Jim Croce, I love his music so much, and I'm so sad that he didn't get to do more because he had so many hits, and if he had kept going, he wrote so many more hits. And he was young. He wasn't even old.
Oh no, he was young, and at the peak of in the 70s, he was at the peak of his. I mean, he was just getting started. He already had like 7 hits, behind him. Yeah, that was a tragedy. Lynyrd Skynyrd, most
Right.
of them passed away in a plane crash. And I actually can tie this into comic books because I have a question that has sort of vexed me because, and I'd be interested in what the chat thinks of this. Well, yeah, Max Appleman's right. They did find a good singer for Bon Scott. Richie Valens, thank you, the La Bamba guy. I apologize for just saying that. First of all, for my Ramones name, I'm gonna go with my middle name because it's very unusual. I was named after my grandfather, Grover Ramone.
Grovery.
Just Grover Ramone.
I was gonna say Grovery sounds too much like ovary, so don't do that one.
Ovary Ramone.
There you
Uterus
go. Go with
Ramone.
No, go with ovary. Ovary. That sounds pretty good.
Grover Ramone. I'm gonna stick with that.
Was it Madame Bovary or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. But as far as it goes, I think this is interesting, and I'm wondering what you think and what the chat thinks of this. I completely understand that Chadwick Boseman was a perfect Black Panther, iconic, made the movie along with Killmonger, of course, and everybody. It was a group effort, but you've had several Spider-Man, you've had several Batman, Superman. Everybody is sort of. We've had different Hulks. We've had you've had superheroes replaced before, but there seems to be real reluctance on the part of the fan base, and it sounds like on the part of Marvel to replace Black Panther with another actor. Is that in deference to the fact that Chadwick passed away so young and they don't think anybody can replace him? Or do they feel like Shuri could take over the role? I don't know what the plans are for Black Panther 2, but why in this case do people so strongly feel that you can't replace Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther?
Well, I think the other examples you gave me, there's so many different Batman and Spider-Man, but none of those actors died and have somebody else replace them. And they're different universes, they're different timelines. They're not in the same world. Now, Marvel has replaced certain actors like Terrence Howard with Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
And they replaced Mark Ruffalo from Edward Norton. But those were more decisions creatively behind the scenes than a matter of someone passing away.
Right.
And so I think it would be in bad taste to replace him. I don't think it's wrong. I just don't think it would be the decision I would go with.
It's a kind of out of respect for Chadwick.
Yeah, I think there definitely can. And here's the thing. I mean, there's going to be different iterations of these movies at some point. At some point, the MCU has to end.
Yeah.
And there's going to be different movies. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this will keep going for a while. But at some point, they're going to want to have a new Iron Man. They're going to want to have a new Captain America. They're going to want to have a new Black Panther. I think at that point, I'm fine with them, hiring somebody else. They did it with Batman, Spider-Man, like you said.
Yeah.
It's different than just a different timeline, different universe. It's a reboot as opposed to recasting someone in that same universe in that same role who just passed away in the past couple of years.
But then they ran into the problem. I think as I say, I don't go on social media, so I don't know what people say, but I thought the decision was to make Shuri sort of the Black Panther, and then she wouldn't get vaccinated, or she just refused to get vaccinated and wouldn't appear on this. They wouldn't let her appear on the set because she wasn't vaccinated. And I don't know if it got political or something, or she had her own anti-vax reasons. But what do you do if she's not going to be Black Panther? Who's going to step up? And if it's not a female Black Panther that was part of the movie, you've already killed Killmonger. Who do you have become a Black Panther?
I thought they were filming with her. I didn't hear about any of that stuff. I haven't really followed the behind the scenes stuff, so I can't really speak to that. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. I'm sure the chat follows social media certainly more than I do. So I don't. Maybe they made up with Shuri and everything's fine now, but I know for a long time I felt like she was almost not going to have the role, but I just don't. I'm just not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Let's see.
I'm sure we'll get 30 minutes behind. We'll get 30 minutes behind in the chat like last time.
No. I'm almost. This sounds like the episode of Seinfeld. I loved that Mulva, and then they finally figured it out a woman's body part. We are in OmniDog. I'm sure at some point there will be a recast T'Challa. It's just a question of when and though what comic booking mechanism, if it was MCU. I don't know if the real story lore of Black Panther from FC, but wouldn't it be easier to replace him with a different Black Panther as in the comics, like Dick Grayson when he was Batman for a while? That's the question. I actually don't know.
That is the route they're going on, I think, with Shuri as Black Panther. So it's not a matter. I'm not talking about you can't have another Black Panther. I'm talking about another T'Challa, recasting that same person.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we're both talking about.
So it's being done out of respect, which I totally get. I mean, that was not only was he taken too soon, but he was so brave about it that he acted right up until the end and didn't say a word to anybody. I'd love to think that I'd be that brave if it happened to me.
Well, yeah, I think they were already in pre-production and getting ready for the movie. And so they kind of like felt like they had to move on and do something else. I feel like it could have ended. They could have just ended that whole storyline. I feel like his storyline wrapped up pretty well. That they didn't have to keep going with the Black Panther universe or that aspect of it. But I think they were already far enough along. They wanted to do something.
Whoa! Very fine condition. Welcome, first time caller, long time listener. Love listening to you. $20 super chat. I don't think I have anything because I have the Minister on. I have to keep it PG rated.
No fries.
I don't have any fries. I do have an Olivia Munn one, but I don't think that it would work with.
Let's give him a thumbs up.
The Minister's, with the Minister's background. I think we're just going to say thank you so much. Very fine condition. I love your name, by the way.
Jess and I will give each other a very hearty handshake and act like we're shaking your hand.
Thank you so much. Very fine. Super appreciate it. Super appreciate it. Boom Baya. She got flack sharing information on Twitter about vaccinations. Then she also got injured on set. So okay, I don't know.
We'll see what happens when the movie comes out or when the trailer comes out, which Jess won't watch, but we'll find out when the movie comes out.
Right. Aiden just joined. Good evening, Jess and Taylor and the rest of the chat. Hope everyone is doing well. Peace and love, Aiden. Looking forward to the discussion. Max says Shuri taking over as Black Panther would be so incredibly odd since her role so far has basically been Q from James Bond, LOL. Well, she is the tech person, but she's also...
She can fight, too.
She can fight.
That'll probably be a part of the movie of training. I think a big part of the movie will be training her to be Black Panther. I don't think she'll come in and be like super awesome right away. I think it's going to be a big learning curve.
That's interesting.
And there is that storyline in the comics where she did become Black Panther for a while. So it is already set up in the comics to a certain extent as well.
So, yeah, okay.
I hope someday there's a Black Panther comics storyline that we both enjoy because I haven't found one yet.
I haven't, except for...
I've tried too.
Oh, I've tried too. I've got Coates Run that I'm going to give a shot. But as far as previous ones, the only one I dug was the Secret Invasion issue.
The Jason Aaron stuff.
That was great. But that's the only Black Panther comic that I've really enjoyed. And
the Ta-Nehisi Coates first hardcover made me legit fall asleep. which never really happens with comics for me.
Oh boy, that doesn't bode well for the 4 hardcovers I have in my
But there are a
collection.
lot of people who really like it, though. So I just know it was really boring. At least the first hardcover, what didn't excite me at all.
I don't see how anyone can want MCU Shuri to be Black Panther. Well, I don't know. Oh, now here's a good question. This is for Taylor, not me. Okay, should I get the Parker Martini editions or the Reckless books?
Is the first Martini edition even in print anymore?
Yeah, it got reprinted. You can
Well, I know
still
it got
get it. I'm pretty sure you can still get it.
I know it was reprinted like last year, the year before. I wasn't sure if it was out of print since then.
I
I would
think-
say definitely. As much as I love the Reckless books, I would say get the Martini editions because I don't think there's much danger of the Reckless hardcovers going out of print yet.
Mm.
I think there's more danger of the Martini editions going out of print. So I would
Yeah.
say jump on those first. And
I'm
they'll be more expensive on the aftermarket if they do go out
Yeah.
of print. So I would say go with those. I would
I'm-
say get both, but if you have
Yeah.
to pick one, I would say the Martini edition just to make sure you get them.
And I'm pretty excited that after having been pushed back 5 times, that 2
A
years
lot.
worth, that it's actually coming out this week.
Yeah, my Tuesday order is going to be Decorum by Jonathan Hickman and Parker. And once those come in, I'm reading both of them right away. Those are like day one reads.
Just Bat Sam, Emmy, everybody out of my way. I'm reading them.
Yeah, probably not. I was outside with the kids earlier by myself, and I was looking at all the people doing house projects and yard projects. I'm like, I can't even imagine being able to do projects right now. It's just too much with having 2 little kids right now. I get to cut the grass, and that's good enough.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if this is a good point. I've yet to read a specific Black Panther one, but I love the character in Hickman's Avengers. I did too. And Hickman's, he was well written along with the other Illuminati members. Yeah, he was well written there, but it wasn't. And no, I did not enjoy the McGregor run, and I didn't enjoy the Christopher Priest run. I didn't enjoy
Reggie Hudlin.
Sorry, yeah, I didn't enjoy the Reginald Hudlin one.
It's not that we don't like his character. It's that we just haven't found a solo book for him that we've enjoyed. I like him in other books that I've seen him, come into, but I've never read a solo book that I really loved.
Yeah,
I'm not sure who's writing him now that Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to be exiting. Maybe that'll be good.
Yeah. Oh, very fine condition is okay with peace and love. Peace and love, very fine condition. You're welcome. Call me Top Gun 45. Oh, if you're willing to answer this question, this is a nice question from Call Me Top Gun 45.
He's doing good. I can hear Kate put him to bed right now, reading him a story.
It's the cutest picture that you sent, Patty. I didn't get a chance to see the video yet, but the picture of you and Sam was perfect father-son material. I saw that you made it your Facebook pic, and I totally agree with it.
Yeah, so Kate said he was watching the first 5 minutes of our stream, so I think he likes to watch both of us for a little bit. He probably got disinterested after a minute or two, but he enjoyed it for as long as he watched it.
We can start talking. Sam, can you see us, Sam?
He's not watching now, so I think you're
No.
talking to everybody else in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to stay caught up, by golly. Jack Ridley is doing the current series. Okay.
I'm starting to realize I don't know a ton of creators at Marvel or DC anymore. Like a lot of writers, I'm like, I have no idea who that is. It must just be like the new crop of talent they're bringing in, and we're just so far behind on collected editions.
Uh-huh.
I see these names like, oh, this person's doing that person's doing this, and I'm like, I have no idea who that is. So hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I'm way behind on DC. I try to keep up left and right with Marvel, but yeah, I'm way behind on DC, which is kind of crazy.
That's going to factor into some of my discussions about my changing collecting habits.
Right. We do have a topic tonight, how our collecting habits have changed. John Ridley is his name, and I think that he is a screenwriter, I think.
Oh, wait, did he do the Batman, like the next Batman? like the future state Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I do know that is. Okay.
He's a pretty famous screenwriter too. I think he's written something that we all liked.
Oh,
What was it, chat?
Because Dr. Dan said Jack Ridley, but I think it might be John Ridley.
Yeah,
that's
I think
why,
it is.
That's why I was confused. So
DC in a Hank Hill voice. I sell Batman and Batman accessories.
Speaking of DC and Hill, I am bummed that they won't be doing any more Hill House comics. Because I didn't enjoy all of them, but the ones that were great were awesome. Basically, read everything by Joe Hill. And then everything by him is great.
Oh, it was 12 Years a Slave that he wrote? Well, that's a pretty famous movie that was well done.
SNL has a funny skit about that movie.
You what?
SNL has a funny skit about that movie. You should look it up on YouTube after this.
Oh, okay.
It's everybody who's coming in to audition as like the slave owners, and they don't want to say what they're supposed to say.
Oh,
it's just really funny.
Wait, let's see. Moon Man. What's Moon Man's profile pic? Oh, Max was confused by the profile pic. That is what is that?
I don't know.
As long as it's not like the 14th variation of me, I appreciate it.
Or Pyro OmniDog.
Yeah.
I don't want to invoke him.
Oh yeah, thanks for nothing.
It's like Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
How much did you have to say his name for him to appear?
I thought it was 3 times.
Okay. So I won't say it anymore. Him or Bloody Mary?
Wait, what's the Bloody Mary thing?
You have to look in the mirror and say Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Oh, is that a horror movie?
Well, it's that old wives' tale that she will appear and she'll kill you if you do that. And it's appeared in different stuff throughout the years.
Oh, okay.
Crash line, that's definitely true.
Well, that's true.
His favorite request.
Yeah, good point, Crash Line. Actually, this is it right here. That's the whole thing. I don't have to stand up.
I don't think you minded showing your shirt if some random person asked. I think it was just consistently
that guy
asking you to show you. It was like, what are you doing with this information? And these pictures are probably snapping.
Yeah,
he made a collage and he made like a quilt or something out of it.
Right, and I didn't get what. No. Paranormal engineering and such. Jesse saved me $30 today. Oh, by saying not to buy Bramble. Love watching your stuff even from years back. $30 that can be well spent anywhere else.
I still have part of your review memorized from that. I remember it stood out to me.
Okay, yeah, you do. Yeah, go ahead and quote it.
It's Drek. It's Dross. It's no good. It bugged me. That line always stuck out to me whenever I watched it. Because the first 2 words are words you don't really hear very much anymore.
Right. Max says, Jess, can you please show every article of clothing you have on, state the sizes and where you got them? I'll make a special video for you, Max. Yeah.
As well as your address where the clothes were sent.
We'll go through the wardrobe.
Maybe Max can be the new person in your bushes.
That dude had an OmniDog. Well, no, he was asking everybody, and everybody would do it, and I'd say, forget it. I'm not doing it for a $5 super chat. If you want OmniDog to show his shirt, $25 or forget it. And he wasn't willing to pony up, so he never saw my shirt. Oh, yeah, there's Candyman and Beetlejuice that you can also say those times.
I can't remember anything about Beetlejuice. I saw that movie years ago. It was never a movie that really stuck out to me very much.
I enjoyed it, but I haven't seen it since.
If you see in a Tim Burton movie, you know exactly what it is. Every movie by him is pretty much the same.
Pony up the dough for that Omni midriff.
You know what Tim Burton movie I never got, Jess? Edward Scissorhands. I never got that movie.
Oh, we saw that in theaters, and I enjoyed it. Wasn't it Vincent Price's last movie?
I'm not sure. I just never got that movie.
How old were you when you saw it? A kid?
I don't remember. I mean, it came out before I was born, I think. Didn't it come out in the 80s? Or maybe it was 1990, I think. So the year I was born, maybe.
Okay.
But I saw it when I was really little. I just didn't get it. Maybe I should watch it again. Or probably not. Yeah, every time I try to watch a movie nowadays, at nighttime, I fall asleep. I have to watch movies in chunks now at this stage of my life.
Yeah. And speaking of chunks, again, the Snyder Cut did not get watched on the spring of OmniDog. I'm so bummed about that. But
Did you get anything watched?
I got the first 3 episodes of Moon Knight watched.
Yeah, I'm all caught up on that, and the last one's next week.
I am not all caught up on that, but I would like to be. And there's so much. I mean, and I need to get caught up on all those Marvel TV shows, because I just had a big spoiler revealed to me about one of them, the ending of one, and I'm like, it was Lou, and I'm like, Lou, why would you tell me that?
I think he probably assumes, because Lou watches things like at 6 a.m. the day it comes out. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
He probably assumes that, was it Hawkeye he spoiled?
Yeah.
I think he probably assumes that was like 5 months ago.
Right.
I think it's one of those things where, I don't know, maybe he thought the statute of limitations on spoilers had ended.
Yeah.
At what point can you not get mad about spoilers? Like, how long ago does the thing have to have been shown? Like, you can't get mad if somebody says, Luke, I am your father. Like, you just can't get mad about that.
No.
Like, at what point is the statute of limitations just ended for a movie or a TV show? Like, what do you think?
Well, for TV shows and movies?
I think it should be a year. If you haven't given something a year, like...
Except for the Crying Game. I think Crying Game should never be spoiled.
At least, okay, 5 years at least.
Even though it got spoiled on The Simpsons.
If you've watched something for 5 years and it came out, then you've kind of given up your opportunity to be upset if you get a spoiler.
5 years? Yeah, that sounds fair. For
even like a year,
TV?
Even for a new like Marvel or DC movie, after a year as a fan, it's like you probably should have watched it by then. You're gonna come across something.
Oh, whoa. We're getting a wash in cash tonight. Thank you, buddy. Crippling Depression just finished Men of Wrath. Thanks for all the great content and Instagram recommendations and the endless hours of great content.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, he's always on I think I see him on Instagram a lot, following my posts and commenting. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I posted about Men of Wrath a couple weeks ago.
That must be where it's from. Because I've read it, but I don't think
we both did a Crime Corner on it like 2 years ago or so.
Right.
You sent me your copy because you admitted that it was well done. It was just too dark for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick the Greek from Belgium. Hello, Nick the Greek, 17. Got a little casino avatar there. Thank you very much, Crippling Depression. I always worry about your name. It concerns me, but you seem okay right now. I just want to make sure you're okay. Someone spoiled the end of Sopranos for me the other day, but that's my own fault. That show has been out for most of my life. Yeah,
there's not much to spoil about that ending.
No, there's not. I saw that, and I have to say that was a very controversial ending.
Did you watch the whole show, or just watch the ending because you wanted to see it?
I watched a few episodes here and there, and then I watched the last one.
That's a show I haven't watched. I've watched episodes like you, and then I saw the ending on YouTube, and I'm like, do I want to spend so many hours of my life getting to that ending? I don't know if I do.
Well, it was super well regarded, and when it was on, my friends were like, "You're not watching Sopranos? It's the best thing on television." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I just haven't got there yet."
I just like the slang from it, like the gabagool.
The gabagool.
My guma.
My guma. And what was the name of the strip club? The Bada Bing.
I don't remember. I haven't watched enough of it.
It was the Bada Bing. Let's see. For comics, you always have to give a spoiler warning, even if it's from the Silver Age, because someone could literally just be getting into comics and seeing a spoiler can drive them away. That's fair. For me, it's fair. I get it.
But Jess and I were, I think it was before the show when we were just chatting while you're eating your granola bar, or your protein bar. Jess was trying to shovel down a protein bar so you guys went to watch him eat. But I think we were talking about, like, is character deaths in comics even that big of a spoiler? Like, do I really have to worry that much about it? Because we all know they're going to come back at some point.
Well, they've already spoiled a comic by calling it the death of Doctor Strange. So,
or again, the death of Spider-Man,
death of Superman.
Right. So a lot of times they spoil things, and this is another discussion for another time that a lot of creators have talked about with solicitations, especially with Marvel and DC, they spoil things ahead of time so people will buy it.
Mm.
And so that's also an issue. But
Yeah.
again, like, okay, Batman's going to die or Spider-Man's, is that really a spoiler anymore? We know they're going to come back. It's a matter of how they handle it. That's a spoiler.
I remember when Lou was still putting out videos on Comics Guide 101, and he said he got major abuse for talking about the omnibus called Death of Spider-Man. And he said, it's called The Death of Spider-Man. How can you get upset with me for spoiling it? It's called Death of Spider-Man.
Well, there was that movie years ago about Jesse James, the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Right.
The whole movie spoiled for you, so you can't get mad about it if we talk about it.
Yeah, well, that's why I never went to see Titanic, because somebody spoiled the ending for me and said the ship sank. Why am I going to go see that?
You're right. That's not very well known at all.
No. Hardcover Hideout. Just got the Barbaric hardcover today after you told me to buy it in your review. I probably said you should buy it. Was that with The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, my other favorite book of the year? You need to buy that too, Hardcover Hideout.
Do you still say buy this book? It'll make your life better.
I will if I feel strongly enough about it. Yeah. Barbaric will. Yeah, I think Barbaric and Death of Layla Starr are my two favorites, and I think your comic book world will be better off. You'll be happier in your comic book world for reading them. Yeah.
Yes, I definitely think I would get more upset about spoiling the end of like a creator-owned comic, probably, because I feel like it's a little bit less, there's a little more surprise there than a superhero comic. I mean, I don't want to be spoiling on a superhero comic either, but like a character death, they're going to come back. So is it really that big of a deal?
Well, I think I still wouldn't talk about Saga number 50 because that's an ongoing series.
That's what I'm talking about, like a creator-owned book like that, because you have no idea, and characters can die in those books and they won't come back.
Right.
So I think it's like with X-Men by Hickman, he kind of eliminated that to a certain extent by allowing people to be resurrected.
Right.
Now they do play around that to some degree throughout it, but for the most part, if someone dies, they can come back in that era of Krakoa.
Yeah. Have you? I told you about Way of X, right? That you could read it,
right?
And that's where Nightcrawler has a whole existential crisis because of the fact that he's Nightcrawler's a strong Catholic and he has mixed feelings about the resurrection pit or whatever it's called. And that whole book is about, I really love that book. And I know I read it out of order because I haven't even started Reign of X yet. Max Appleman told me to read it. And there were a couple things in there that I had to go, yeah, okay, that happened. But it's actually really by Cy Spurrier. It's really well written about the crisis of faith that he has about the resurrection and coming up with a cultural touchstone of belief that all of Krakoa residents can unite under. And so I thought it was really well done, The Way of X, dealing with those resurrection pits. It was very thoughtful. Very thoughtful.
And he made Goldballs an interesting character that actually had something important to do.
Hickman did, or
Hickman did.
Right. That's a major.
I just want to like peer back in time and watch Bendis when he came up with that name,
Goldballs.
I'm just surprised that did pass editorial. I want to come up with a new X-Men called Goldballs.
Here's a compliment for us. You read it.
I got most of the James Bond hardcovers based on your guys' recommendations. Read the first two by Ellis and really enjoyed them. Thanks for that. That's a series that everybody should buy all of them. I mean, I don't think I have all of them. There's one or two that came out recently in the past year that I haven't bought yet. I can't remember what they're called. Big Things, maybe?
I'd have to go over and look on my James Bond shelf.
Oh, there they are. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of those hardcovers.
Oh, you've got almost all of them.
I think there's only one or two that I'm missing. I think two.
Mm.
I think that's it. But I have all of them have been at least good to amazing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of rare for us to both agree on that the entire series is worth owning. All of the books are, and I would even say are at least very good to excellent. They're all worth reading and all worth owning.
The only one I think I was slightly disappointed by is what's it called? The one by Greg Pak with Goldfinger. I think there was. I don't know why the second volume. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I think the ending let me down a little bit. If I remember, that was like 2 years ago I read it though, so I can't remember fully. But it was still worth buying. I'm glad I have it.
Now this is an issue. Layla Starr definitely on my reading list, but I may have to read it digitally. Hard to find the paperback now. That is an issue. That it's I think, is it a Vault comic?
Is it Boom?
Or is it Boom? That's crazy that you got Ram V writing a great book. That book should not be out of print. Hardcover Hideout should be able to go right on he should be able to go right on organic priced books and get it and use the code OmniDog for $2 off. For a new paperback, that drives me crazy for something like that to go out of print, because it's an amazing series, and it's an amazing series, and it should be widely available. I mean, I make the video, everybody wants it, and now it's out of print. How are they going to get it? I don't even know if Boom has an app that you can read it on.
Boom's really notorious
Comixology.
For hardcovers, especially. They're very notorious for underprinting.
Well, yeah.
So I think that's definitely something that they're known for a lot. It's like with Dark Horse, whenever they like always mess up in the beginning of the new hardcover coming in, they never send the companies enough copies of it. You know, wait like a month for them to come back. But the good thing about Dark Horse is they usually get them all back into print, or they get them where they're supposed to be. You might have to wait a little bit longer if you don't get it right away.
Right.
But usually you can get it in a certain amount of time.
Max says, I love Spurrier. Wave X addressed how meaningful is life without death within the Krakoan age of X-Men. Okay, he said it better than I did. Thanks, Max. Do you want to be a host on the show now or something? What's going on? Now, Aiden says, has anyone ever had something spoiled by stretching the binding on a new book? Oh, that's interesting. I've learned to look away when doing so. It just happened to me a couple weeks back with Deadly Class Volume 2. When I relax the spine, I generally don't look at the pages. First of all, congratulations and good for you for knowing to relax the spine. I don't know that everybody knows to do that. But I'm just flipping through it so much that I'm not really paying attention to, but I guess I can see how something like that would pop up. So I haven't ever had anything spoiled, and I'm sorry it happened to you, Aiden.
I don't think so with that. Sometimes, have you ever like try to flip the pages to see how many more pages are left in a certain issue because you have to go do something?
Oh.
I've done that before. I get to the last page. Oh, I don't want to know that yet. Get to the last page of the issue. You're hoping to have it not be spoiled for you. But that's pretty much. I don't think it's ever happened to me with relaxing a spine though. But I can see that can happen though.
Greetings to the incomparable OmniDog and Minister of Comics. Thank you, John. And Comic Bound had a tip for Aiden. And turn the book upside down when you stretch the spine, and you'll be less likely. Turn the book upside down when you stretch the spine. How do you do that? I think
he means flip it so it's the picture's upside down, so you won't be spoiled as easily.
Flip it. Okay, flip it that way.
Turn the book inside out.
Yeah, I was thinking he was taking the book upside down and trying to do it.
No, I think he means he flips it. And that way, if you can't, it's kind of harder to be spoiled when you see an image upside down.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you for.
Do you ever get annoyed whenever you're reading a big omnibus or something or a big hardcover, and then they turn like the character over like this in the word balloon, is
Oh,
upside down. You got to turn the whole book over. I don't know why that annoys me.
well,
I wouldn't mind if they had the character upside down but have the word balloon be right side up at least.
yeah.
I don't like when I have to flip the whole thing.
Well, yeah, and there's plenty of illustrators or writers or both that have been using sort of a circular kind of frame where you got to keep turning it
Oh yeah, that's annoying. Yeah.
to read it. Yeah.
Do you ever have certain creators, certain artists where like their flow sometimes can be hard to follow? It's like, wait, where do I go on this page? Do I go over here? Do I go here? You ever had that issue when you're reading a comic? Like, do I go to this panel to this panel?
Are we talking manga?
No, I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about their panel layouts.
I just had problems with that with a book, as a matter of fact, that I just read, but I can't. It happened within the past couple of weeks. So some books, yeah. What book was that? Some books will have like a regular layout, and then they'll go for an across the pages layout. But previously, it was like, panel, and then all of a sudden it goes to long panel, and I just read half the panel, and I go below, and I think, well, this didn't make any sense, and then I look up and I see that the panel goes across 2 pages, and that can confuse me. That can confuse me. I can't right now, but I can certainly make a video on it, War Duke. It's incredibly important to do it for omnis and hardcovers to relax the spine so that you don't get the mousetrap effect, and that the book opens properly and doesn't slam shut on you, and it saves the binding itself.
I think Comic Bound actually has a video on his page about it.
Well, that's great, but he's asking me about.
I was just saying I'm just saying if he wants to find out now, if you don't want to make that video, I was just saying.
Oh, well, that's great. Yeah, what Taylor said is what I meant. It's hard to read text upside down, and the images sometimes make less sense too, so it's safer for spoilers. And apparently, Comic Bound has a how to relax the spine on his page. So peace and love to Comic Bound. Actually, go to Comic Bound about how to relax the spine, and then I'm
always trying to help Jess come up with original content. I think there's a lot of videos on YouTube about that, so you don't need to make it, is what I'm saying.
Well, no, that's true.
I'm saying I'm helping you make original content.
All right, you are. Jess would make a better video than my one. To be fair, maybe not Comic Bound. I think that you make quality videos. I think that.
Sorry, look at the comment below. That'll make you even more mad.
Omar has fuck Omar.
You'll support Comic Bound tonight instead of Omar.
Yeah, go to Comic Bound. Yeah, there probably are plenty of YouTube videos on how to relax the spine, and I think that's what you want to search for: relaxing the spine on a omnibus.
We need to get Tyler and Omar on on one of our shows at some point.
Why?
I don't know, because I like to punish myself.
It'd be a snappy show, that'd be for sure. We'd be talking.
Well, we've done shows all together and it's fun, but trying to get both of them on at the same time, especially on Saturday night, is probably tough doing. So
Saturday night,
trying to get Tyler on a Saturday night show is next to impossible.
You think that's family night for Tyler,
right? Tyler's always like, "Can we do a video at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday?" I'm like, "I'm at work." So
yeah, well, that's why I'm perfect for that, because right. I'm like, yeah,
that's
sure.
why me and him never really do videos, because our schedules don't line up. I wish we could do more though. I have fun doing videos with him, but not as much fun as doing videos with Jess.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Comic Bound, don't undersell it now. We're trying to send people to your channel. Go to Comic Bound and find out how to relax the spine. No, Tyler's all done. He wants to do unbox and chill with me every day of the week now. He's all set.
During tax season, I don't want his schedule. After tax season, he told me his schedule. On weekdays, he wakes up, takes his daughter to school, goes back home, takes a 2-hour nap, and then plays with toys until he has to pick her up from school. So, I mean, that's a pretty nice schedule. I told him I haven't taken a nap in 2.5 years. since my son was born. So I would love to have that schedule.
Well, don't forget, on the way home, he gets an energy drink and gummy bears, and then takes his nap.
Okay, I didn't hear that. That'd be a hard thing to consume before a nap, though.
I think he can do it. Dr. Dan, I love Omar. I was totally kidding. Omar and I are good friends. I love him, and I was just kidding. It's
Jess likes to act mad about supporting other channels on his channel.
Well, no, I was just supporting Comic Bound.
No, I was saying you like to act mad.
Oh yeah. I do.
You are mad, so you like to act mad.
I will always act mad about Omar because he has 700,000 more subscribers than I have. But no, Omar and I are good buddies, so it's all good. It's all good. John, yes, I saw the Batman. Oh, I saw the Batman during the spring of OmniDog.
Oh, you didn't tell me you saw it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
What'd you think?
I loved it. I saw it what's today? I saw it last week.
Because last time I asked you, you said you hadn't seen it yet. So
okay. I saw it last Thursday. Not 2 days ago Thursday, but a week ago Thursday. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I thought it was extremely well made. I thought that Bobby Pattinson made a great Batman.
See, you did exactly what you told us not to do, is take somebody's name and put our own spin on it.
I know. I loved everything about it. And I'm looking forward to a sequel. I know it just got greenlit for a sequel.
Shock of no one.
Sorry, yeah. I liked that we didn't have to relive the beginning.
Pearls. It was the pearls falling.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoyed that it was like, boom, 2 years into his being the Batman. I love the setup with him and Detective Gordon. I love the relationship with him and Catwoman, how that developed.
It's the best looking Batman movie. It's one of the best looking movies I've ever seen. The cinematography. Yeah. This is maybe controversial. I think it might be my favorite Batman score of all time. I loved that score.
I love that score too.
It was awesome.
Too Fast from Mondo, and I never picked it up.
The Michael Giacchino score, that was fantastic. I mean, I think I'll always have the nostalgia of the Danny Elfman Batman score from the '89 Batman. That's probably still my favorite, but I think I even like it better than the Hans Zimmer Dark Knight stuff, which is also great. I mean, they're all great though. It's hard to say, but I've been listening to that score at work a lot, and I really love it.
Yeah. Well, it's your favorite Batman score, right?
Maybe it might be. It's like it's real. I think about the Danny Elfman score. That one's just so tied to my childhood.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say, but I liked it better. I liked it better than the Hans Zimmer score, which is saying a lot. That's an amazing A+.
That's your way of getting around controversy on the internet, is by saying it's your favorite. Nobody should be able to argue with your favorite. If you say it's the best, then people will argue. But if you say it's my favorite, that takes the argument away. You can't tell me what my favorite is and isn't. That's why I always say it that way. This is my favorite book in this genre. This is my favorite movie, blah, blah, blah. And nobody can say, no, it's not. Who the hell are you? Yeah, it is. It is my favorite.
And I think Colin Farrell as the Penguin was awesome.
Oh my gosh,
he was so good.
It was him.
He's gonna have his own HBO Max spinoff show about him rising up in the underworld.
That'll be great.
He was fantastic. I think he kind of was the standout for me in that movie. He wasn't even in it that much. I just thought he was fantastic in that movie.
Yeah, he really was.
Everyone was great. I love Paul Dano as the Riddler. He was really creepy. I liked what's his name as Jim Gordon. I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, he's a
oh no, starts with a J, doesn't it?
Jess Bragg?
No, someone please tell me. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Who played Detective Gordon? We're blocking on it.
Zoe Kravitz was great as Catwoman.
Yeah.
Really going back to the year one look of her, I think was really cool.
People will still try to argue if you say it's your favorite. I haven't had that experience. Mark 76. If I say it's my favorite, I never get any arguments. I mean, I do it on my YouTube channel. I tried to one time get I tried to get clickbait. I clickbait titled a video to try and get people to come in and argue with me, but nobody would. And that is why Irredeemable is the best comic ever. I specifically named it that because I wanted it to be clickbait, and nobody argued with me. They just went out and bought Irredeemable.
It's Jeffrey Wright was Gordon. He
Jeffrey
was
Wright. Well. Okay, where is that? Jeffrey Wright. Oh, Christopher Richard. Okay, we've got a lot of people that say Jeffrey Wright.
How about that car chase with the penguin?
Amazing.
That upside down shot.
Yes.
Whenever he's walking, I love when he leans down and looks at. That's one of my favorite Batman scenes of all time.
Yeah,
I just love it.
You see him coming at you. Oh, that was so awesome. Let's wait. I missed something that I wanted to talk about. Blah blah blah. Yes, amazing score. Love score. Batman. But sure is skepticism. So, did you pretend to ban Omar from the Omnivault? No. He is absolutely still banned because of his behavior here. He admits he got too comfortable. He is still banned. Taylor is not banned. Taylor was here, spent a lot of time in the BatCave, but Omar is still banned.
I walked around like this.
Well, it's tight in here, but the outside's not.
You also liked my reel I did of your collection, so
oh my gosh, that was such a great reel.
I got brownie points for that, I think.
That was real. That was really real. And Comic Bound, you're welcome. My pleasure. Batman had lots of great comic references. Yes.
There is an aspect I want to talk about it with you, but I don't want to spoil anything, so we'll talk about it after the show's over.
Okay.
I think everybody who wants to see the Batman have seen it already, but I don't want to get anyone upset with me.
Okay. Jeffrey Wright. Okay, here's something awesome topic, which we haven't gotten to an hour into the show. Very interested to watch this, even if it's on the rewind. Have a good rewind. Have a good one.
We probably should get to the topic at this point.
Yeah, I do want to. I do like to get the chat's comments in. I think Gary Oldman's Gordon is my favorite Gordon,
yeah.
But Jeffrey Wright's I did like, somebody said, Comic Bound said the buddy cop dynamic.
Yeah,
I was really good, and I agree.
I like their relationship better in this movie than the Dark Knight trilogy, but I think Gary Oldman is just like, he is James Gordon in my opinion.
Yeah,
like he just, I don't know, he just like really embodied him.
Yes, you do hardcover Hideout. You do have to buy Irredeemable now. And then when you're done with it, you need to buy Incorruptible, which was the sister series. They can be read absolutely separately. They're standalone. There's one crossover issue that's featured in each book. Doesn't matter. Irredeemable is easily my favorite book ever.
Well, here's the question, Jess. Where does the Batman rank for you in terms of Batman movies? Your favorite, not the best, your favorite. I've been thinking about this, and I'm still a little bit unsure at this point.
I was a huge fan of Batman Begins. And I was also a huge fan of The Dark Knight. Was it Dark Knight Rises?
That's the one with Bane. That's the
one with Bane. So it was just The Dark Knight. I was a huge fan of those. I liked those. I loved those two movies. So I'm going to need to see the Batman with Robert Pattinson a few more times, and I'm completely content to watch it several more times. But I still feel like Batman Begins is my favorite right now still. Although The Dark Knight was almost, to me, almost a perfect movie. I don't know how you could change anything in it to make it better.
Just change Christian Bale's voice a little bit as Batman.
What
his voice got a little over the top sometimes. With each movie, it got progressively more ridiculous, and I was like, okay, man, dial it back just a little bit. Robert Pattinson had a great voice, I thought, as Batman.
Yeah. And one thing I liked about Robert Pattinson, as Bruce Wayne and Batman. And I feel like because he was a young Batman, he didn't have different personalities as Bruce Wayne and Batman. He was
Christian
very
Bale was like immediately trying to set up a persona as Bruce Wayne.
He was antisocial as Bruce Wayne. He was stony faced whenever he went anywhere as Bruce Wayne. He didn't try and portray being a playboy and then shifting into a different personality. And to me, that felt more realistic. If you're a young Batman, scarred by your past, trying to make a difference, hating dealing with any of Wayne Enterprises stuff, it seemed more realistic to me that he had the same personality as both Bruce Wayne and Batman. That's my thought.
He's also the first Batman to take his mask off and still have the eye makeup on.
Right.
That's the way I'll never forget. Like Batman Returns. Remember when he peels off his mask and you see like the black under the mask, and then he pulls it off and there's nothing. It's like how's that happen? That's not possible. Yeah, I think I did enjoy that aspect, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I do think they will get to that Bruce Wayne persona being worked on in future movies. I hope they get to that point though, because he does need to have that at some point. Otherwise, people are going to know and be suspicious.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought he was a bit emo at times, but I got what they were going for. And I think I'll appreciate it more in retrospect if he has that character arc going forward, where he realizes he has to change, he has to adapt, he has to do what Alfred's telling him to do.
Right.
Keep that persona up. Otherwise, you're going to ruin this for everybody.
Yeah.
Basically. So I think it'll be an interesting arc, whereas in Batman Begins, Bruce from the beginning tried to act like a playboy.
Yeah.
I think he really had that idea really well set from the beginning. If he needed to be as Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Right.
Whereas Robert Pattinson's trying to figure out both, basically.
Matt D, Jess, I literally just finished Irredeemable a few days ago and loved it. That was my first experience with Wade. I really want to read his Daredevil. I should have a show with Taylor where we talk about nothing but Mark Waid books, because we have so many we love.
Or we get him for another interview, a second interview.
Boy, it was tough getting him for that first one.
But we could tell that he liked our interview because he stayed longer than he said he would.
Right.
It was supposed to be a hard 30 minutes, and I think he gave us 45 minutes.
Yeah, he gave us 45.
So
I think that I would like to see Greg Rucka again, because he seems so casual and so eager to talk. I mean, I felt like we had to cut him off at the end. He was ready to keep going for another 3 hours. And
I love the end of that episode.
What's that?
I love the end of that episode where you meant to send him out, like, bye, Greg, and then send him out. But then you like end it and you set yourself out.
Yeah.
And me and Greg were like, all right, well, see ya.
I hit the wrong button, and then I went back and fixed it. But yeah.
But then whenever the show ended, it was just black for the last like 2 minutes because it's a black screen. That was the funniest part.
Well, Bunkmaster B will be happy to know that I had technical issues signing off of that show.
We haven't had a bad interview, so we've had a lot of great ones, but Greg Rucka is probably my favorite.
All of them have, all of the interviews, they've been charming and friendly and willing and ready to talk. And what stands out to me, the reason Mark Waid could only give us 30 minutes is because he was right at the beginning of setting up. I think he's publishing US Humanoids comics launch or something. He was incredibly busy, and he barely could fit us in, and that's why it was such a hard out. And the other thing is, Rucka we talked to during the pandemic, and he just had nothing but time on his hands. That was before
the Old Guard came out too, and I think he was inundated with interviews during that movie. So I think that really made it harder. Now I think he finished writing the Old Guard 2 movie.
Oh.
And that's going into production sometime soon.
Goody.
I love that movie. That was a great movie.
I did too.
I just wanted to finish that series so we can get a hardcover. Although this might lead into our segment, Jess.
Which
Yes,
we should start.
Yeah, let's start the segment with this. If the Old Guard comes out in hardcover, will you upgrade?
Yes.
So I have not bought the trades, believing there's going to be a hardcover someday.
Okay.
And so one of my collecting rules right now, and the whole those
We're
of you
starting our topic.
Yeah.
We're starting our topic now. Hour
those of you
into
came
it.
in during a tangent. Our topic is our collecting habits and how they're changing, basically. So my first one right now is, it might be a hard one to follow at some points, is I'm not going to upgrade no matter what.
No matter
'Cause
what.
I have a pile over there of books I'm trying to get rid of, and some of them, a big stack of it, is upgraded books. And the problem with that is they're hard to sell once you are upgrading, unless you wait for that upgraded volume to sell out.
Right.
So they're hard to get rid of. You never really get back what you paid for them even close, because let's say you have like a bunch of trades and then a deluxe comes out, people want the deluxe, not the trades. They're hard to sell.
Right.
So I'm trying not to upgrade at all, because I hate selling stuff. I know you don't mind selling stuff. I just don't
love selling stuff.
I hate this. I hate selling stuff. So I try to limit as much as I can. So I'm really trying not to upgrade anymore.
Okay.
That's one of my rules. No upgrading. There's probably something that'll slip through the crack at some point, but I'm really trying hard not to.
That is a fair point, because I am not upgrading on a lot of books, and I made two. I've made two exceptions. I'm not gonna. There's what's the King Arthur book? Once and Future. I'm gonna keep that in trade, even though those deluxes are giant sized and beautiful. I decided I'm not upgrading that. I'm not upgrading the Jeff Lemire Black Barn book. What is that?
Gideon Falls.
Gideon Falls. I'm not upgrading that. The two books, and this second one just came to mind today. First of all, I'm upgrading Gwenpool. I already sold my trade paperbacks.
How many? Is that a big omnibus? Do you know? Like, is it going to be like over 1,000 pages, you think?
I don't think it's going to be 1,000. It has Gwenpool 1 through 5, West Coast Avengers books 1 and 2, and all her 4 or 5 appearances in Howard the Duck. So I think it's going to be very manageable.
Oh yeah, she wasn't in the Howard the Duck omnibus. You're right.
I'm going to upgrade that, and I apparently underpriced what I wanted for that set, because it sold literally 5 minutes after I put it up. And that's a clue that you have underpriced your books. But I just saw East End Catwoman omnibus coming out this month.
I'm sticking with my thick trades.
I love that run so much. I think I'm going to sell those trades. The one thing I have a problem with in selling trades, or this keeps me from upgrading, is if it took me a long time to put the run together, because some of the books were out of print. Now, I found 1 through 3 of Catwoman. 2 was the Waylette in there for the longest time, and I was finding 2 all over the place. So I don't have the emotional tie to it, and I feel like that's a book that that's sort of a Batman Catwoman. It's not a Batman book, it's a Catwoman book, but I have it filed up under Batman. I think I'm going to upgrade that, but I have not upgraded any of my Charles Soule or Chip Zdarsky Daredevils. I haven't upgraded. I'm saying I am with you with just a couple of exceptions. I'm going to probably, before I upgrade anything, always come to you first, so you can keep me strong to not upgrade. If I've got trade paperbacks of something and it's coming out in like a library edition from Image or something, well, Gideon Falls.
Here's how we're trying to help each other right now. We're trying to not buy trades unless we really think that's never going to hardcover.
Right.
Or it's not really likely. So at this point, I'm trying not to buy new trades coming out. Now, I'll buy old trades where it's okay. It's been 5 years, 10 years. We know we're not getting hardcovers of that. At least it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
But new stuff from Image, I'm not buying any trades at all. because I know there's gonna be, for the most part, there's gonna be hardcovers at some point.
Oh,
And so I can at least.
Gerard says 1,100 pages for Gwenpool
All
on
right,
me.
no thanks. So,
I should have
so
sent you my
basically,
paperbacks.
So people have been saying in the chat, hoopla, hoopla, hoopla. That's what I'm really been using a lot recently. I'm trying to use it even more as reading stuff digitally
Yeah.
and as a placeholder. Like I know this is gonna get a hardcover down the line, and so until then, I'm gonna read it on Hoopla if I can, if it's on there. I'll try to find another way to read it digitally if I can, and try to get the story in me, but hold off on buying until a hardcover comes out.
And I am trying to use Hoopla and digital media more to not only test run and see if I like the book and if I'll buy it later, but to keep me from buying those trade paperbacks at all. That because now I can never know with Marvel, like Black Widow just got canceled by Kelly Thompson, which kills me.
Has she had a book that hasn't gotten canceled by Marvel?
That leads to this question.
Is that the only one that hasn't been canceled by Marvel?
So far, yeah.
I'm surprised they keep giving her stuff if they keep canceling everything.
Well, she's a great writer and a fan favorite.
Oh, I'm not saying she's not good. I'm not saying I think she's a good writer. I read her stuff. I'm just surprised that Marvel keeps giving her more work if they keep canceling everything. Because at the end of the day, they're a money-making business.
Yeah.
And if they're not making money, they keep canceling. I'm just curious why they keep, unless they love her stuff so much, they just want to keep giving her the chance. I just wouldn't. If I was her, I'd be like really annoyed. They keep canceling every book, and it's like, what's the point of even? For her, I would just like start doing like six issue minis or something, and just hope that or 12 issues, and hope they give me that instead of trying to go for a long-term story arc. Yeah. I really got annoyed with her Kate Bishop Hawkeye book because it was so much fun. I enjoyed it, and then they had a rush at the end to tie everything up because it got canceled, and that just really bummed me out. Yeah, you always have it right there. But there were so many storylines that they had to rush through and weren't able to really tie off properly that it made me annoyed. And I'm not mad at her. It's not her fault. No. It was just like, this went from like a 9 to like a 7.5 because the ending was so rushed.
Right. So I don't have a problem buying her trades of Black Widow because if it's canceled, maybe they're not even going to give it a hardcover. So I have no problem getting those trades. I do have all the Captain Marvel books by her. The only reason I would upgrade, Jose, is because I want to support Kelly Thompson and buy the Omni and support her. I want the Omni to do really well so they get more faith in her or something. I'm not sure what's going on there. You know, things just seem things just always seem to get canceled by her that are really good books. I will say that I also love Black Cat that I've been buying in trades because I liked the book and I didn't think it would ever get a hardcover or omnibus, but I think it's done really well for Marvel. It's very well written, and it's Jed McKay's writing it, and it's doing really well, I think. So I may regret buying the trades, but I don't know. But I think I'm going to upgrade on Captain Marvel just to support Kelly Thompson.
And we have some people asking you what Hoopla is, and it's available in other countries. I don't think it's available outside of the U.S. I could be wrong. Maybe in Canada. But I can't really comment on that. But Hoopla is a library-based app that you have to have a library card, and your library that you have the card with has to have the access to Hoopla. And basically, your library decides how many free digital rentals you get a month on Hoopla. And Hoopla isn't just comics. It can be there's movies, there's novels, there's audiobooks. But we only really use it for comics. So you have to have a library card with a library that has access to Hoopla. And so Jess's local library didn't. So you had to drive, was it an hour away?
30 minutes away.
Because the problem is I used to work at a center that did outbound calls and inbound calls for libraries and dental offices. And I've never seen a library that will ever give you a library card without you coming into the building.
Right.
You can't call across to California and get a library card there. You have to physically go there. So you have to find a library in your area, physically go there and get a library card to get access to Hoopla.
And I think for some reason, I feel like Hoopla has something to do with the demographic of your county. I live in Fairfax County in Virginia, which is considered one of the richest demographically in the country.
I took calls to that library.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was probably the top 3 libraries that we got calls for.
Oh.
I'm surprised it was so big that they don't have Hoopla.
And so I drove half an hour away to Prince William County and got a library card there and got my Hoopla there. It's a lesser median income county, and I'm just wondering if Hoopla is based on median income or something, because I don't understand why Fairfax County wouldn't have Hoopla. It's a great service. No, it can't be that. Libraries are libraries. They're free to the taxpayers, and they want you to check out stuff. So I don't understand why Fairfax County didn't have it.
It is money the library is paying for. They do it to pay for this service at their library. So
right.
Whoever's in charge of that particular library, the decision is put before them. Do you want to have access to this app and pay for it? And they decide yes or no. It's like with certain books, like some books then have to be brought to them. Do you want this book? Or you have to ask, hey, can you get this book at your library? They say yes or no. And Damon Lewis answered our question. It is in Canada. So good for you Canadians.
Where is that? What time?
9:22.
Oh, I'm behind. Yep, it's in Canada. I use it all the time. Okay, good. Oh, and there's Kenny Crayley. How you doing, buddy? Okay, so you can literally say you work in a county that has Hoopla because I don't think they even check.
It doesn't matter if you live in an area to get a library card. You can get a library card anywhere.
Yeah, I went to Prince William County.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I can go to California and get a library card. You have to physically go there and get a library card. That's the only issue.
And that's how I got access to it. So another way, let's see.
So Hoopla is one of our big things.
Right.
I'm not upgrading at all. At least I'm going to try as hard as I can not to upgrade. And you're trying to limit your upgrades as much as you can.
And the other thing I'm not doing, and I'm going to need support from you on this one too, is no blind buying.
Unless it's a creator like Ed Brubaker, new series comes out.
Okay.
That's different. Like Decorum by Hickman. I've never read anything of Decorum. I know I love Jonathan Hickman stuff.
I don't consider that a blank.
I just wanted to make it more blatant to the audience that we're not talking about creators that we know. Like if Tom Taylor comes out with a book, we're both going to buy it.
Yeah. But I'm talking about a book that sounds good and I might like it and it sounds intriguing. And
it's by Steve Orlando.
What didn't I tell you that he's writing something?
Oh, what was it?
I heard good news that they were bringing back a series, but Steve Orlando was writing it.
After the Pool, he's a no-go for me totally. The Pool by what was that? What's the publisher's name again?
The Pool, TKO. Yeah,
TKO.
Oh gosh, that was awful. I think that I don't want to do any. I mean, I can do blind buys by creators I know, but I don't want to. And I think this maybe has to do more with independent books, creator-owned books, things that sound good that I read about. That's a weak point of mine, that it sounds good and I want to get it, or that somebody in the chat said, Jess, have you heard of blank? It's about this and this and this, and you should really read it. And previously, I would just go out and get it. I cannot do that anymore. I mean, financially, space-wise, time-wise, I cannot be getting these blind buys for those reasons. I just cannot get any more blind buys.
Someone says he's writing Marauders. Is that what it is? No, it was something else.
Oh no, I think it was. Oh no, it's not Hellions. What is it? He's writing Marauders. Is
I
he?
thought it was something else.
No,
I can't
Prisco
remember.
knows what he's talking
Well,
about.
he might be writing both.
No. Then OmniDog's
Oh,
right.
that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Well, he's probably writing both, but that was the one you're talking about.
Yeah, that was the one we were talking about. He may be writing Marauders, but it was Spider-Man 2099 that we were talking about. No, don't tell me to do more research. Unless you mean read it online, but some of these independent books aren't necessarily available online. If they're European comics or if they're from a small publisher in the US, something I can't I just can't. I mean, do more research. Unless I can find it online, I can't do more research on a blind buy. Cheerio, Jess Taylor, 2:30 p. I think you mean 2:30 a.m. there in UK. Been a pleasure watching your show. Peace and love, John. Good to have you. Kenny's habits have changed. Back when I first started, I collected mostly baseball cards. Now I collect a bit of everything depending on what I like. The collector, of course, wants me to buy more toys. We're going to get into that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be, well, something I do want to do, Jess, because the thumbnail speaks to it. Let's travel back in time a little bit to 2015, 2016, which would you say is the height of your powers, even though I think Pandemic Jess might have even more than 2016 Jess, maybe on par.
I think Pandemic Jess was using the taxpayer, the refund checks or whatever. 2020 Jess used buying as a way of feeling, as a way of treating my overall nervousness about the pandemic. Because I remember in April of 2020, when we did shows, I was terrified. I was worried about everything from the economy to, people dying to everything. And I think through 2020, I tried to assuage that panic by buying, because when you buy something, your brain gets the same hit that it gets from, like to a smaller extent than what it gets from drugs and alcohol and things like that. You get a hit of that serotonin or whatever it is. And that's how I made myself feel better. But 2015, 2016, Jess, wanted everything. I wanted, I wanted everything possible, whether it was in print or out of print. I had, but also I was finding a lot of books for other people, especially back then, 2015, 2016. 2016 is when I took my trip of the Western US and bought like $2,000 worth of books that were almost all for the group. Half were for me and half were for the group. So I know I just contradicted myself.
Did you buy more books for you at the Pittsburgh tour or the Western tour? For you?
Well, it depends on what I do with my Gen 13 books. And I know Warren Weaver's in the chat and he's not going to want to hear it. But after reading Next Gen, Gen 13, the deluxe edition, that did not do it for me. And so I'm questioning all those Gen 13 books I bought. I think that was probably half and half. I kept half and half. I kept half of those, and I either sold or hooked up somebody with the others. But 2016, Jess, was I was in the Facebook group, which is where we met, and it was fun to be able to show hauls in there. It was before I had a channel, so it was fun to be able to show hauls in there, and it was fun to I freely admit I was trying to own everything. I was finding all kinds of out of print super whales at these stores that people were paying $300 and $400 for on eBay. And I was finding them for myself, for my collection. And I had fun showing them off in the Facebook group. And the big change is that I now realize not only can I not own everything, but I'm not even sure I can keep everything in this room, because there's a timeline now. Do I have enough time left in my life to read all these books? I have to do what Joachim says and get this down to a collection I really, really love. And every book I either really want to read or reread. I'm constantly purging now books that are on the fence. If a book's on the fence with me, it's out. I either want to really, really read it or reread it, or I have got to take it to Second Charles or put it on eBay. So my megalomania has been reined in to more of a reality-based collector mentality, where I just want to own what makes me happy. And
what do you think was behind the wanting to buy everything? Were you just excited to have all this stuff? Like it made you feel like you kind of said it to a certain extent, like that excitement of buying stuff and showing it in the group. Did you ever reach a point where you looked around and you were just like, what have I done?
That's what I'm doing now.
Well, I guess that kind of happened your first video with Lewis McGregor, right? Years ago.
Well, we talked about budgeting. And
you feel like that was like the first time you started to have hints of this?
Yeah.
And do you remember what the impetus for that was?
That made us do the budgeting video?
Yeah. Was there something like an inciting incident or something that happened that you looked around and you were like, what have I done? And I need to change.
No, at the time, Lewis and I, we don't talk as much as we used to, but he and I were in regular contact, and he had a strict budget because he's an independent filmmaker and he has to have a very strict budget. And so I was interested in getting to be more budget minded because I had blown wads of dough on a bunch of trophy books and other books that I found. I never spent $300 or $400 for Thor #1 on eBay, thank goodness. But I realized that there were no controls on me, and he and I did a couple of budget videos, and I realized this needs to be more reality based, or I'm really going to have a problem. And so that's when we started talking about budgeting, and we made a couple budget videos. And I've gotten to the point now where as long, because my wife's involved in this, as she should be, but she doesn't want to see any of excess. She doesn't want to see excess amounts of our money going out the door. If I can have twice as many packages going out the door for stuff that I sell than I have coming in, then she's usually happy with that. She knows that I do want a few things and that I've set a budget for it. I don't make. Now here's the caveat. I don't make big purchases anymore, but I do have at least 2 more DCBS orders coming in where they, instead of sending me just a couple orders of a couple books, they'll send me a 60-pound box of 3 months worth of books that they should have sent me back in December. So I know I have at least 2 more giant hauls coming in that I made last year last year. They're definitely books I want. There's no, reprint of Thor 1 in there, or X-Men #1 in there, the Stan Lee X-Men, because I know I wouldn't read it. But I'm trying to make sure everybody doesn't think I'm hypocritical that I'm saying, yeah, I'm on a budget, and then I get a 60-pound box, because that's 3 months of $100 orders that comes in all at once. I do have a budget, but DCBS just wads them all together and sends it. So,
but didn't you pay for it back then with DCBS?
I think they charge you when it goes out, when they ship it.
I thought you paid for DCBS when you ordered, so I wasn't sure.
Every
company's a little bit different.
Yeah, I can't
remember. So I was gonna say, to your defense, if that was the case that you paid when you ordered, you can always tell your wife, I bought this last year.
Well,
so I have past Jess, who's not here anymore.
Well, that I have used that defense, and it's true.
But do you hate anybody more than past Jess?
Sorry?
Do you hate anybody more than past Jess, or do I hate anybody more than past Taylor? Probably not. Past Jess and past Taylor gets in trouble.
Past Jess always said, this is future Jess's problem. And it's future Jess's problem now. When I've got, and it's hard to explain to my wife that this is 3 months of orders coming in one box. I mean, if they had sent me a month's orders, it would look a lot more reasonable.
Right.
So
nothing will ever top Tyler's person-sized coffin box of BBTS toys.
Oh my gosh, you got 55 toys there.
Nothing will ever top that picture.
No,
I've never seen a box that big of an order like that.
You two are probably my closest friends, and you're the angel on my shoulder, and he is the devil on my shoulder. Because he is there saying, you definitely need these figures.
I think he's been doing that less, though, knowing that you were trying to cut back, though, in his defense.
Not according to my text messages.
Okay, all right. For a period of time, he cooled it, but maybe ever since then he's picked it back up.
In Tyler's defense, I am the one that is making the decision. So I mean, he can say all he wants.
That's true.
You need this Yamaguchi Revoltech Venom. And I'm like,
okay, you buying the roaches? I still need clarification on that. How did he?
Why are you bringing that up now?
Because we're talking about this topic, Jeff. I couldn't believe, because Tyler does pictures of those roaches. He's trying to tell me that I should get them. I'm like, oh, these aren't even real characters. They're not characters from anything. They're just made up Mezco characters that they do toys of. And I need to have an attachment to a character.
Right.
To want to have it. Otherwise, I don't see the purpose. Like I'm never going to buy a figure of a character that I'd never read or even care about.
No, and that's fair. And
so that's why I was stunned. I tell you, to see that you. Well, here's the thing. With your Unbox & Chill, if I watch it later, I'll scan through your video sometime, or I'll watch it in the background at work. I skimmed through that video hard because it was all Mezco roaches.
Yeah,
I was like, this isn't the video for me.
For me, I think I only showed like 2 roaches.
Oh, I can't remember. I was at work and I was just trying to have some background stuff. I was doing some admin stuff, and I was like, okay, well, this is all roaches apparently.
The bug thing's over. It was a 2-week fascination with the bugs. It's over with. You're right to question it,
honey. I promise it's over. It meant nothing to me. It was a 2-week affair with the roach, and it's never gonna happen again.
She meant nothing to me. She was
those roaches meant nothing to me.
She was just a bug.
It was all looks, no meaning to it at all.
No.
Oh, Tyler's in the chat.
Oh, he is.
I don't think Tyler's.
I'm way behind the chat. I'm gonna. Don't let them shame you. I'm blaming you.
Tyler, if you can be in the chat, that means you could probably jump on the show.
I have it. Thanks to Collector. That was the first bug I got.
How many roaches do you have, Jess?
I think I have 5, and I'm stopping there.
Tyler, how many roaches do you have?
Tyler has a lot, but he also has an outlet with his toy photography that fulfills him, and he's good at, where he can justify it by saying, the bugs look cool in this picture. I don't have that. So Taylor isn't even a figure collector. He doesn't.
Can't you can you put him in timeout? Put him in timeout. If I had access to it, I'd put it in timeout.
5 roaches is $1,000. No, it's not, dude. What? No, I got those all for like $90 each. What roaches are you buying?
What was it that enticed you about the roaches? Was it Tyler? Was it just something you saw? Like, what was the initial thing that just sparked in your mind? Because I would never would have guessed you would have gotten those roaches, but I also never would have guessed you would have bought a bunch of Transformers.
Those
which you no longer
sold.
do. Which okay, I still can't believe that you bought the Transformers. I know now you're selling them.
Yeah, I'm selling them.
You did stop after a couple months of buying them too.
I did.
I that was one of those things I couldn't believe that you bought.
The Transformers?
Just because not trying to shame you or anything.
No.
I just know you don't care about them.
You're right.
As a property. That's why I was stunned.
Yeah, and that's why they're getting sold. They haven't. I did buy a Transformer recently because I liked it a lot. It's here somewhere because I showed it on the most recent Unbox and Chill. I thought it was a cool Transformer. Where the heck is it? It transformed into this bug, and the Waspinator is what it was. And I'm not finding it right now because of course I'm looking for it. But that was a $20, Transformer. It wasn't a $300 Transformer set. It was the Waspinator, and he looked cool, and I actually would like to transform him, but it was a $20 figure. But yeah, I'm selling all the Transformers. Those are next. I'm making my way through the basement, the unfinished part of the basement, and they're going to be next that I put on the market.
Can you picture yourself selling the roaches in the next year, or do you feel like you're going to hold on to them?
That's a good question. It's possible that I lose interest in them, but I also, they're very posable, and they come with a ton of accessories, and I think that's what did it for me, is how many accessories those Mezco roaches come with, and I think that's what enticed me to do that.
Tyler's had the only sensible thing so far that he said in this entire chat at 9:43.
Is that this one?
Yeah, that's the only sensible thing Tyler said so far.
And that's a total lie. You didn't do that. I did that.
Okay, we can both be involved in this because I was telling him for like a year consistently, if I could afford Hot Toys, I would buy them. That was always my thing. If I could afford them, I would get. I just can't justify it, basically.
Yeah.
And so I said, just buy less Mezco stuff, buy less of these $100 figures, so you can get a $250 figure.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. You can afford it. Just buy less of these other things.
Okay. Then I take it back. You and I helped both.
It's like the steady drip that wears down the rock over time.
And Hot Toys, I've had to cut off too because of room. And
man, that would have been fun to see 2016 Jess go hard on some Hot Toys.
Whoa!
I just imagine what the collection would have looked like if you had been able to do that several years ago.
Well, Hot Toys are really cool. They are very posable. They come with a lot of accessories. They're not 1/12 scale, or 6th scale, or what 1/12 scale, I think. They're here in the background, and it was because the Spideys, I concentrated on the Spidey Hot Toys. Now Tyler and I did not get this one because it's too expensive, but I am jealous that Tyler was able to get it, and that's the latest original suit Spidey with the diorama with the scorpion's tail sticking out. That is a really cool one, but there's no way I could justify getting that. Hey Jess, it's been a while. Glad to be back, gentlemen. Hey Art, how's it going? Oh, N-Man 40's right. Past Jess bought too many pops. I never understood their appeal, and I was glad when you sold the majority of them. I lost the boxes to a lot of them in the flood, and it's hard to sell unboxed pops. I've sold almost every single boxed pop that I have, but I got a lot of orphans, and I'm not sure what to do with them. I mean, I could group them like unboxed Spidey pops and put them up for auction and see if anybody wants them.
You can bury them in the desert like they did with the ET Atari game. Bury them in a landfill somewhere.
Yeah, I was really into pops, and then that stopped. Here's the issue. I think I don't think. I know it's part of my addictive personality. I've got to fight it constantly. I'm in recovery from alcoholism, and I know
14 years now.
Sorry,
14 years now, almost.
It will be
13.
It was 2008, May of 2008.
So you're almost there.
Yeah, almost
wow.
14. Yeah.
Congratulations. You're almost.
Thank
you're
you.
almost
Almost
14.
there. Almost there. Yeah. But the pops, yeah. I realized that I needed to stop those, and the issue now is that I have so many orphans and I don't know what to do with them. I mean, I could bag them up and give them to Goodwill or something, which I may end up doing.
The appeal of pops that they're so cheap, but when you're buying such in mass quantity, it's not. But
right.
As opposed to like a hot toy or a statue where that's a big purchase and you have to limit it, with hot toys you kind of feel like you don't have to limit it. But then you realize, I mean, with pops you don't feel like you have to limit it. And then you're surrounded with all these boxes and all these white and black little beady eyes looking at you. Like, what am I going to do with all these things? So I could see how that could be something that takes over somebody without them even realizing how many they have.
Right. And then they started doing glow in the dark exclusives and flocked ones that were fuzzy. And I was like, ooh.
Wait, are you keeping flocked Cat Dog and Ralphie?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think you're getting rid of all of them.
No, gotta keep flocked Cat Dog, and I'm keeping flocked Ralphie from Christmas Story. And I think I'm keeping flocked Snagglepuss because I just think he looks cool. But you can see a pattern here with me in my addiction, that it's, books, pops, hot toys, statues, action figures, and it is part of my addictive personality, which is why it's important in this video for me to say what I'm doing to arrest that mentality of trying to get a bunch of different things.
Well, something I do want to say that we talked about before when we were making the thumbnail is, in the 2022 Jess picture, we wanted you to look like you were unhappy just for the sake of the thumbnail to be funny. But in reality, you said you're much happier now than you were in 2016.
Yeah.
And I think a part of that is this willingness to cull and sell things, because there can be this temptation to think the more stuff that I have, the happier I will be. But there's like that empty, there's that hole that we're all trying to fill something with.
Yeah.
And it can be anything. It can be toys. It can be comics. Now, I'm not saying these are bad things. These are things that we can enjoy and have fun with. But it's just because you're getting more stuff in doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be more happy. Maybe for a few seconds you get that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times you find happiness in realizing I don't need these things to be happy.
Yeah.
I can let go of these things.
And I give a lot of credit to Joachim about that, because he I think he had a video, and then we talked on YouTube. He interviewed me for his series, and he has a very good psychological mental approach to the less is more philosophy. He's a very interesting guy. And I think that was really the beginning of my realization that exactly what you're saying. I'm trying to fill a hole buying too much stuff, and it's got to come to a stop. And in that thumbnail, I do look miserable because I had a root beer, as you suggested, in the 2016 one, and then a salad and just one book in the 2022 one. but yeah, I am much happier now knowing that I don't have to own everything. But it's um I I have a collector mentality blended with an addict's personality, and um it was under control for a while, and then it went crazy, and now I have it back under control. um
We're all addicted to something as well at some point. Every human being is. Obviously, there's differences, and like you talked about with recovery in that way. But I think we're all addicted to something, whether it's food, whether it's buying stuff. There's always something that we're trying to make ourselves feel better with, and that can be that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just matters how much you give yourself over to that.
right.
And so I think we all struggle with that to some degree as well. And for us, it's buying toys and buying comics at this point in our lives.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make my orders for books just to be smaller. Books I know I'm going to love, like the latest Reckless book, my latest
Parker Martini edition.
Parker Martini edition. I said in the Essential Collected video that I did today that I haven't put up yet with Chris. That's going up tomorrow. But as things came up, I was like, oh, I got to get that. Oh, I got to get that. But I can't get all those things. Like, am I really going to have time to read the Luke Cage Omni? As much as I respect Luke Cage and his Bronze Age run, I think I'd rather reread Avengers by Hickman or Fantastic Four by Avengers than read a Bronze Age Luke Cage book. And so I have to make those. I have to, and I do want, and so in exchange for the Luke Cage one, I'm going to get the Moon Knight omnibus. That's not something you're going to be interested in because that's Bronze Age, but that's something that I really, really want to read. And so that's how I'm trying to arrest this need to own everything.
I think having young kids has helped me in some ways too. Like I hope this is something I can share with my son, and I think of like what are comics I want him to read and want to pass on to him, like ones that are excellent, ones that are really good, ones that are meaningful to me. And on the other hand, I think about how much you can spend on these things sometimes. It's like I have kids and I have to be responsible. I have to watch what I buy and how much of it. So I think it's that aspect of it. I want to give things to him and pass things down to him. I think he'll enjoy it. At the same time, I need to be careful and recognize I can't buy the world because I do have responsibilities. So that is something that helps keep me in check in the past couple of years as well.
Oh, here's a good comment from Nman40. Jess, I know not all books are quick reads. However, if you read the 5 brew cap omnis in one weekend, there's a strong possibility you could read all your books. You could get on a reading roll. Now, that's a positive attitude. I appreciate that.
I think the hard thing for you is you just don't know some days what you're going to feel like. And so some days you can really get a lot done. Some days you can't. So I think that's the other thing that you have to. I think if you didn't have your health issues that you've been struggling with, you'd be reading an exorbitant amount more than you do right now, I think.
Right. That's why my video output has dropped, because I have, bad days and good days. But yeah, you're 100% right. Is that's robbed me of a lot of reading time. And here's BJ. BJ Cake's got to be more selective, which is tough when you're new to comics and everyone seems to recommend everything. Andrew Nutt, always good to see you guys. Good. I find that I'm less likely to keep a modern read over a classic read because modern is easier to read digitally. That's a good one. I have ADHD so bad I can't even focus on long periods of reading, and I still buy books. Let's see. I'm just trying to BJ says, I'm always good at sticking to budget, but now I'm getting to the point where I don't have time to read everything I buy. Welcome to our world. Welcome, BJ.
I feel like I'm on a pretty good track right now. I feel like I'm watching way less TV than I used to, and I'm focusing on reading. Part of that is with getting up earlier and having 2 kids. If I like lay on the couch tonight and watch a movie, I always fall asleep now. But if I read a book, I find myself more attentive and more able to stay up.
Right.
And so I've been focusing on reading a lot more recently. I feel like I'm knocking a lot of things out. Like I finished my Hickman X-Men readathon, which I'm excited by, but I'm also bummed out because I'm bummed that it's over.
Yeah. Buying is a high. I get you, Jess. I'm the same way. From Warren. Oh, no. Atomic Hound doesn't like Tim Seeley. Oh, I like your dog pick. Orlando is close.
Tim Seeley's hit or miss for me. I think I enjoy some things and I don't enjoy other things.
Same. Yeah. That's what you're supposed to do with the stimulus check because you were stimulating the economy. So in a way you were helping. Peace and love, March 76. I love the way you think. Thank you.
This is proof. Jess ended the pandemic.
Single-handedly. So true. Some of us are addicted to something, and now we are addicted to consuming. There is not only is there a dopamine hit in buying them, but when those boxes come to your house, that is exciting. I mean, I can't deny getting a box delivered. It isn't like Christmas, in July or right now in April. It is fun to get a box of something. So that's what I'm struggling with too.
Yeah, I think. Do you ever read any of the Jack Reacher books back when you read novels?
I did not.
Do you know the central conceit of the books?
I'm sorry?
Basically, do you know the central concept of those
No.
books? So basically, Jack Reacher is an ex-army investigator who walks away from his job, and he uses the money he made from that just to pretty much go throughout the country and do whatever he wants to do. He doesn't have anything besides his ID, his wallet, and a toothbrush in his pocket. And he buys clothes whenever he goes to a new city. You watch them at the laundromat and things like that. And he gets into different scrapes and he gets into different conflicts and solves different mysteries, basically.
That's
he's always
cool.
He's always in. It's a great TV show on Amazon Prime now as well.
Was Tom Cruise a Jack Reacher film?
Yes, but as much as I like the first Tom Cruise Reacher movie, in the books he's 6'5" and huge, which Tom Cruise is not. So this is the new TV series is amazing, and you'd really like it, I think.
Who is the star of that?
His name's Alan Richardson, but I don't think you maybe you saw a picture of him. You know who he is? Did you watch the Titans TV show at all?
The what?
The Titans TV show on HBO.
No,
he's in that. So that's basically something.
All right.
But Lee Child, who wrote those books, said, "I think people like these books partly because we all sometimes feel tied down by all the stuff that we have, and we can go into these books and be like, man, I can't imagine. That'd be so freeing to not have any attachment like that."
Right. Let me see if I can get caught up. I know I'm way behind. There's people want you to buy Hot Toys.
No, forget it. I literally can't. I can't do it. I just can't.
Just sell blind boxes on your channel.
If I suddenly get a new job where I make hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, then I would get into Hot Toys like that.
Jeff asks, what was your favorite pop? I think the two that I kept that I really like, one is Ralphie, because Christmas Story is a family tradition for us to watch it Christmas Eve when we wrap. So my daughter and wife and I have seen that movie 700 times. So we know it well. And I love Flocked Ralphie. And the other one was the famous cat dog Flocked one. That was an OmniBros story from a while ago, maybe 2017, where, if I can remember it correctly, that day there was an OmniBros show, and that day Cat Dog Flocked went on sale, and it was it was hard to find at first. I forget what it was, but I really wanted it and couldn't find it because Cat Dog is a show my daughter and I watched together. So I I wanted to get a cat dog for her and a cat dog for me, but this one was flocked, which means it was fuzzy. And I forget how it happened in the Omnibros chat that it turned out everybody knew how badly I wanted it and how much trouble I was having finding it. And on the Omnibros show that night, instead of being in his office, Gabe was out cooking, doing like barbecuing, and the camera was on him, and he sat down with the flocked cat dog in his lap, and and didn't say anything. It was perfect. He was just silently cooking and sat down with his flocked cat dog, and that just added to the legacy of the cat dog. It was so funny. Let's see. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Chris.
They give it a 10-minute warning at this point.
Oh, you're at a 10-minute warning? If it comes down to it, you could donate to them to a children's hospital, Justin. Now, that's a great idea. Oh, yeah, Justin, I'm sending that in Monday to Emily. So you should see a credit in your account in the next, like by Wednesday, I would think. So yeah, Justin, you'll definitely be seeing the credit in your account. I'm sorry, that was 9:53. I'm not that far behind.
Just 10 minutes. Yeah.
Jess, Moon Knight Omni Volume 1 reprint. I mean Volume 2, the new Volume 2. You should be thanking Omar for the Gwenpool omnibus. That's another whole story. I had all my followers inundate him with Gwenpool requests on his Saturday show, and I was begging him for a Gwenpool omnibus, and I finally got one. And no, instead of thanking him, I told him that Kristen and I should design the cover and spine because Marvel wasn't doing a good job doing the covers and spines. Let's see. Something satisfying when you order something and you wait a while and the feeling of it finally arriving in your house. Right. Oh, Aiden, thank you. Also, don't forget to like the stream, everyone. Please, everybody, hit the like button while you're at it.
Did you have any final things for your changing collecting habits do you think you shared all of them?
Hey, Quack. I think just being happier with what I have and that I can be happy with less. I'm trying to get it down to, I think I just be repeating myself now. I think I can't think of any other ways that I've changed other than cutting back on everything, cutting out a lot of things, and just trying to be happy with what I have. I think that's part of the human condition, trying to be happy with what you have. I don't think a lot of people are happy with what they have, and they fill that void, alcohol, drugs, books, everything like that. So it's been a process of my being happy with what I have, sticking to a budget, and realizing that if I got to move someday, I don't want to box this stuff up. I really don't.
Well, I think it's interesting where like I can look at somebody else's Instagram page or YouTube page and they have so much more stuff than I do. And you can be envious and you can be jealous. But then sometimes on my Instagram page, sometimes people will comment like, I wish I had as much stuff as you do. You know, and it's like, I've just been trying to realize like, it doesn't matter how much stuff you have. If it means a lot to you, that's an awesome collection. It doesn't matter how much you have. As long as it means something to you, as long as it brings you joy in some way, that's what matters. It doesn't matter how much stuff you get. Somebody can be getting every book that's published out. It doesn't mean they're enjoying the books or getting more out of it than I am.
Right.
We're all enjoying it in different ways. It doesn't matter if I get more, it doesn't matter if I get less.
Yeah, I think that was I think that was the turning point when I went from wanting to own everything to when I realized I can't own everything, and I just need to be happy with what I have. So Quack, nice to see all the live appearances lately. I'm on streak of like 7 good days in a row. So
Wow.
I felt good since last Saturday. I haven't had a bad day, so it's really good. I'm quite happy. Is this regarding Black Widow, Jackson?
I assume that's why they cancel all of her series. And that's why I said I'm surprised they still hire her for jobs whenever they're not making the money they think they want from it. Even though we're not saying anything about the quality. I think the quality is still high. I'm surprised they keep giving her series. They keep canceling it. I'm guessing based on monthly sales reports.
Yeah, and I wish it wasn't like that because she's she's a go-to writer for me in the same way that like Zdarsky and Mark Waid, Brubaker, Rucka, she's up there where I will buy anything by her and read it because so far I haven't read anything bad by her, and she understands the female characters of Marvel really well and writes them really well, which is what kind of gripes my cookies when you get a mediocre writer on Spider-Man that gets 9 or 10 volumes, and she's a quality writer and she'll get 2 volumes of something. I don't. Well, Spider-Man's going to sell no matter what, and Black Widow and Captain Marvel are smaller characters, and Gwenpool wasn't written by her, but West Coast Avengers was. Here's a question for you.
I have not. I feel like that's also a black hole I could fall into, which I do not want to fall into. I think you kind of dabbled with this a little bit earlier on, but I don't think you've done it for a very long time.
I haven't. It was part of when I sold my comic book collection. I had like complete runs of Blackest Night, complete runs of Flashpoint. So I didn't want to get rid of those. I wanted to turn them into Omnis. I did one thing I'm not going to get rid of is my complete Red Lanterns run, because those were taken from trades that are hard to find now. And
we're never getting an omnibus of that also, so
No.
definitely keep it. There's no way we're getting a Red Lanterns omnibus from DC.
No, and it was from trade, so there are no ads. So, but I do have to figure out what I'm going to do with my Batwoman Omni, because it's the same contents as what I just bought from DC. Well, actually, it's probably more content than the DC one, but it was put together with it was put together with comics, so there's ads in it, and I really don't. Some people like that there are ads and letter pages and stuff in their Omnis, and I don't. So
I see some really cool customs and custom dust jackets on Instagram all the time.
Yeah,
I think one of my white whales right now is Punisher by Greg Rucka. That's really hard to find all of those trades. I really hope they do an omnibus of that. I saw some people have some really cool custom bound omnis of that. I would love to have that.
I have one of those.
Yeah, so that's a book I hope that they'll do. I think hopefully Marvel's at the end of their banning the Punisher streak for a while.
Yeah,
they brought him back with the new Jason Aaron series. So I'm hoping for more Punisher stuff from that angle.
Let's see. After Neil Adams' passing, if anybody's interested in my thoughts on Neil Adams and what a groundbreaking artist he was, you can go to last night's Omnibros. It's just like 45 minutes long, but Gio and I think Gio did a great job last night because he didn't have a whole lot to say about Neil Adams. It's mostly my talking about Neil Adams from the perspective of being a 9-year-old and seeing what a difference Neil Adams' art made and what a trendsetter he was. But go to last night's Omnibros if you want to see my tribute to Neil Adams. And Gio was great because he just kept putting up covers that Neil Adams did, and it was really a good visual representation of Neil Adams' stuff. The answer to this question is it would be his Green Lantern, Green Arrow run that Dennis O'Neil wrote. The deluxe is called Hard Traveling Heroes. I have the Absolute, but that would be my favorite collection by him. And since we're almost out of time, let's remind the audience, organic price books. My code is OmniDog, $2 off and 5% off shipping. 3 books or more together, OmniDog, ship it together. And I am grateful to Organic Price Books for giving me a special code for an upcoming video that I hope to have ready Monday. Whoops, how did I do that? Oh, I got rid of the chat. So in closing, what about you? Are you do you have anything to add besides not upgrading, not getting trades?
Yeah, I think
things on Hoopla.
Yeah, I think I mentioned all the things that I want to talk about. Thankfully, with toys, there aren't as many toys coming out this year as that I really need or really want. So that's definitely helpful on that front. I think I'm definitely I never really got in a big streak like you and Tyler obviously do, but I got a lot last year. I'm definitely gonna get less this year.
Yeah,
which is good for me personally.
I think,
but Sam does love my toys now. He walks in, he wants to play with them.
I know. What are you doing about that?
Well, I let him play with them to a certain degree. I let him go downstairs and play. There's some I won't let him play with because I think he'll break them. Or there's some I'm like, okay, if that one breaks, I won't be too upset about it. I just don't want it to. I don't know. I want to be careful. I don't want him to feel like he can't come into this room at all.
Well, and they are toys, so and they're your toys, so there's no.
I want it to be something that we do together someday.
Yeah.
And so I don't want him to be like, well, I don't want to do that because Dad's so weird about it. You know what I mean? I want it to be an enjoyable thing. And remember, as we've been talking about, these are just things.
Right.
And my son is much more important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And even if he does break something, I don't want to make him feel like a piece of garbage for it. It's like I don't want to set that. He's much more important to me than this stuff. I'd burn all my backyard if it meant him being happy. So it's one of those things. I want to have a good grip on it. I want to take care of my stuff. I don't want to be insane about it.
Right. And it's your collection. I don't like when I go on like a toy group page and somebody's showing a figure in the box and they're saying, oh, you have to take it out of the box. And like, he doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do. If he's an in-box collector and he wants to display it that way, it's his collection. He can take it out or not. I don't want anybody telling me what to do with my toys or books or anything else. It's my collection. I'll do what I want with it.
Well, I think, having a kid kind of puts things in perspective of what's really important too.
Right.
It's like toys, comics, as cool as they are, that's nothing compared to the really important stuff in life.
I tried like heck to get Kelly into comics and it just never stuck. I would gladly pull any of these books off the shelf, out of print or not. If she wanted to read them, that would make me so excited, but it's just not her thing. So we find other things that we do. Right.
And Sam's favorite character is the Hulk. I don't have a Hulk figure. And so he'll walk in and say, Hulk? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't have one. But he loves the Hulk. So he loves saying Hulk smash. We have these books that Kate bought there's Iron Man, there's Captain America, there's Spider-Man. He loves those books so much. And he always asks to read the Hulk first.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have like different words like boom, crack, crash. And he loves to say those with me too. Well, so the Hulk is his favorite as of right now.
Well, I think you should just go to Target and buy a $10 Hulk figure that's like 12 inches tall and just go, here, dude, here's the Hulk.
Right now it's Hulk and Spider-Man.
Sorry?
Hulk and Spider-Man are his go-to right now.
Yeah.
He loves the End of the Spider-Verse movie.
Oh, that's so great. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to raise your kid, except I am. If it was my kid, I had your problem, I'd go find you could go to like a Goodwill store type thing. There's tons of action figures at those places, and you could find him something to beat up that way. I understand you don't want him to beat up your Batman and stuff, but Ooh,
And for those of you who are worried that he doesn't have any toys, he has so many toys downstairs. He just doesn't have a Hulk. He has
I've
comics,
seen
he has
him.
cars, he has a ton of stuff down there.
Yeah, he has plenty of toys. That kid. That kid is such a great kid. I love him. That's right, Comic Bound. Let's show him our Zura-Nars.
Oh, lean over.
Comic Bound knows what's up.
I like his shiv.
Shiv.
If only we had Batmite, but I guess I'll be happy with it.
Oh, I know, Batmite.
That would have been awesome. There has to be a Batmite on eBay or something, like a figure of some kind. Surely, right? There has to be a Batmite of some kind somewhere.
Well, if there is, I want a figure of Mr. Mxyzptlk too for Superman.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
But McFarlane needs a really good Superman first for me. I know you like some of them, but
you know what? I bet I have a Batmite. I mean, it's too late now for this show because we're getting ready to wrap it up. But I have some other figures in boxes still that I got a long time ago. They were like DC classics from the DC Direct line. I got a feeling there's a Batmite in there. I'm going to go check that out right after this.
that'd be fun.
It would be. Okay, so thanks everybody for tuning in. We spent actually an hour on our topic, which is pretty good, and
That is pretty good.
I caught up on the chat. Thank you to the chat. We had a lot of good people giving us a lot of good feedback and comments. The chat was really good tonight. I appreciate
And super chats.
Oh, and yeah, super chats. Thank you so much for those super chats. I'll make sure I cut Taylor a check for the 36 cents YouTube's going to send me.
I always just say when we hang out, you can just get me a meal or something like that. That's all I ask for. No need to send me my check.
I will be happy to buy you a very lean pastrami sandwich.
Only lean, no fatty pastrami. No fatty pastrami for me. Can you cut my check 24 ways, and can you make sure my pastrami's lean?
Thanks, Ahmad, for watching. Appreciate it. You guys are great. Go to Organic Prize Books and tune in to OmniDog's Vault. Oh, and where can they find you on Instagram?
You can find me at Minster of Comics on Instagram, where I just posted a reel today of all the massive stacks of books that need to be filed away from me.
Fun.
I've been procrastinating.
Fun. That's a good one. And his both of our Instagram handles and other information will be in the description box underneath this video. Thank you, Jackson, for watching, and thank you, Comic Bound, of course. So until next time, peace and love, peace and love. And I'm going to get our song to play us out.
Play us out.
Play us out. What does that mean? Play us out. Peace and love, everybody. Thank you so much for watching.
Baturdays, Baturdays. OmniDog and the Minster of Comics. Talk forever, get right your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat. With a name like that, you think they talk more about the fact. Baturdays, Baturdays,